I call to order the February 10th, 2020 business meeting of the Cincinnati Board of Education. We welcome everyone and request everyone in the audience to please silence your cell phones and electronic devices. Please stand for the pledge.
Ready? They're like speakers. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Wagner, please call the roll.
Mrs. Bates?
Present.
Ms. Bolton?
Present.
Mrs. Bowers?
Present.
Mr. Lindy?
Here.
Mr. Messer?
Present.
Mr. Morosky?
Here.
President Jones?
Here. Thank you. Does anyone have any kudos? Whew, Mr. Messer.
Yes, I would like to give kudos to Ms. Candace Jones, who is at Woodward. And I had an alumni of CPS who saw something that I mentioned in social media about career tech and everything, and he said, well, so glad that you support this. I graduated from the phlebotomy program, which is how I got into my job. So I'm going back to volunteer at my school today because the next round of students are going to start sticking live people. And he said, you really should come see this. Well, no, I didn't get stuck. I about passed out trying to watch it. But I will say that it was absolutely fantastic. Ms. Candace was phenomenal, and she walked me around, and the students were so engaging. And it's not just teaching them to be phlebotomists. They do everything that surrounds that, entering the workforce and all the things that ensure that you're successful in whatever career that you're in. I was just so impressed by the program. So I want to give kudos to Ms. Candace and her entire team, and really all those students there, because that was really cool.
Great, great, great. Mr. Morosky.
Thank you, President Jones. I have a few kudos. First, kudos go out to a couple teachers that came to our policy committee meeting on Friday to help us relook at active shooter drills, how we could make them better, less traumatic on staff and students. So I want to give them a shout out because their input is certainly going to be helpful in that process. And when we do approve policy committee minutes, we can talk about it more. I would also like to give a shout out to a couple young men at Mount Airy School in the Moore program. I showed up for a reading event, and they met me at the door. They met everybody at the door, escorted me, provided us with dinner, made us plates. It was all very awesome. And then lastly, my last kudos to the superintendent for something she was instrumental in doing when she was deputy superintendent, which was Vision 2020. The reason I say that, I was at another community event this past weekend talking with a community member who was decrying the fact that our neighborhood schools didn't have A, B, and C, or X, Y, and Z, and it would be much better if they had 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6. I go, well, actually, we have those. And they hadn't heard of the programming at Westwood School, which was the neighborhood I was in, so kudos to you for that as well, because it's a great point of pride for all of us.
Thank you. Additional kudos. Okay, Ms. Bates, please present the retirements.
Yes, we only have one this evening from our certificated personnel. No, I'm sorry, from our civil service personnel. Lynn Theobald, who is a food service helper. We thank Ms. Theobald for her work with our children and wish her well in her retirement.
Thank you. We are now at the item on our agenda for hearing of the public. Each speaker has 3 minutes to speak, and Mrs. Wagner will be our timekeeper. When the buzzer goes off, your 3 minutes are up. Please refrain from discussing any personnel items. When your name is called, please come down to the podium to speak. So we have 5 speakers tonight. I'll call the first 3. Daniel Sofin, Rosemary Sutton, Ed Path.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I just want to start, you talked about pride. I'm really excited. This is my first board meeting. I was on my way here, my mother, 74 years old, says, "Baby, make sure they get audio." And I said, "Mom, I don't think I'm that important." But what I learned from my friend back here is that it's live stream, and so there's video and audio. So I sent her the link. Hopefully she can see me. If not, she can watch when she comes. But in any case, I'm here to talk a bit about the Hyde Park School expansion. As mentioned, my name is Daniel Soffin. I am the proud parent of Nala, who's a third grader at Hyde Park School, Marcus, who is a first grader at Hyde Park School, and Peter, who's in preschool. But we are looking forward to 2020, when it will be the 1 year that all 3 of my kids are in one location, and we have 1 drop-off and 1 pickup. I was looking over the Vision 2020, and I saw that Cincinnati Public Schools wants to be a destination district. And what I wanted to share with you is I am that target family. My wife and I, we were in a very poor school district with poor schools. We didn't have a lot of options, and we said we wanted to give our kids more. And we specifically came for Hyde Park School. We loved Dr. Amat, we loved the program, the enrichment, the community involvement. And so we specifically moved so that we could enrich our kids' minds and bodies there, ultimately intending to stay in CPS until they matriculate and go to college. And you know, as we talk about the Hyde Park School expansion, I think it's very consistent with the priorities of the board listed in that document, specifically student-centered decision-making, health and safety, and community engagement and influence. And you know, I have the privilege of serving as my son's basketball coach at school. And you know, we have a shared space for athletics and academics. Our gym is pretty small. It does double duty. And so whenever we have concerts or band, you know, basketball gets rescheduled. And even on the days it gets rescheduled, you know, there's quiz bowl. And if they run long, like they did, you know, last week, you know, we had to spend, you know, the first half of our practice in January outside, just trying to let the kids, you know, run around. And we tried to make it fun so that they didn't feel that, you know, unfortunate environment. But we want to do better for them, right? And then last week, just Tuesday, it rained, and you know, so water came through the ceiling, and unfortunately, a child fell. He didn't hurt himself, but we had to lay cones around and put paper towels. And you know, as we were talking, we said we can do better than this. We can do better than this for our children. And if you look at how well the school has done over the last few years, you look at the community involvement, you look at who showed up today, the return on investment is a sure bet. I know there's lots of items within the CPS vision that you guys want to do. All of them, I'm sure, are worthy and have great merit. But what I can tell you is, having lived in Hyde Park and understanding what that school is and how it's becoming a beacon that we can rally around, I just strongly encourage you to please consider Hyde Park expansion for those funds. Thank you.
Thank you. You timed that real well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mom.
Ms. Sutton.
Good evening. My name is Rosemary Sutton. I'm a parent of a Walnut Hills 7th grader and a Hyde Park 3rd grader. I came and spoke in November, and I appreciated that opportunity. I'm here tonight for 2 reasons. One, my son Joseph, he's in the audience. He's here working on an Eagle Scout merit badge and needed to attend a public board meeting. So looking forward to seeing what he gets out of this. And then the second thing, when I came and spoke in November, it was seeking bus service for the CGA sibling students. And I just wanted to do a public thank you, and you probably don't hear that very often. It's usually begging and pleading and griping and complaining coming from the podium. So I just wanted to be on record to say thank you. Bus service is up and running, and it's been a success for the students that we asked for it for. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Pei.
Hello, board. Good evening. My name, once again, is Ed Paff, parent of 2 Hyde Park School students, 3rd grade and 1st grade. First of all, I wanted to thank Ms. Mitchell for the update last week at the board meeting at Kilgore in regards to the status of the facilities throughout the district with immediate needs for growth due to overcrowded buildings. I'd planned to speak at that meeting, but I didn't arrive in time and early enough to sign the paper. So I just wanted to put out a couple points that I'd written down that I was hoping to speak to last week. It was really nice to be back inside Kilgore, a school that I originally moved into the neighborhood to attend before Hyde Park School reopened. And it was great to see how nice the facilities are there. Walking past the library reminded me how nice it would be for our own library books to be removed off the shelves of the back of the stage and put into the small room where they used to be, which now is inhabited by, I think, 16 or 17 first graders, one of the 5 first grade classes that we currently have in the building. Also, the meeting was taking place in the gym, something that was really, really nice to see. I would like to see something similar to that gym at Hyde Park as part of an overall expansion. The gymnasium at Hyde Park now is less than half the size of that one that we were all sitting in last week. Speaking of that gym, we did host a informational night for parents of our second graders last week on Wednesday, the same night of the board meeting. Those are the parents who currently have their students crossing the street over to the bank building every day for classes. Immediately when that meeting was announced, the PTO was approached asking, does this mean that our students are going to be at the bank again next year? Fortunately for them, that's not what the meeting was about. It was a meeting to explain what the typical day for a third grade student at Hyde Park looks like as they transition from having one teacher throughout the full day to having multiple teachers. They like to involve the parents and get them up to speed on what that looks like for their third grade year. So it was just sad and discouraging to me that the first thought out of the parents' minds and the students too was when that meeting was announced is we have to go back to the bank. The recommendations that were presented as part of the presentation last week revolved around additional community engagement. I'd love to have any of you out to our PTO meetings. I am currently the PTO president at Hyde Park School. We just had a meeting on Wednesday that I know everyone was very busy, so unfortunately you couldn't attend that one, but we will meet again on March the 4th at 8 a.m. at the school, and I will send these details to you through Ms. Davis. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Tracy Redding and Julie Sellers.
In case you don't recognize me, I was here at the first meeting of the year. I ran out of time because I talked too much about my first topic, but I'm Tracy Redding. I'm a parent of 2 kids at Spencer Center, and I'm the school counselor as well. And so the last time I was here, I spoke a lot about how fabulous Spencer is and how different and wonderful and supportive it is. And the next thing I wanted to talk about were the options that Ms. Mitchell put together, whether or not we expand, and one of them mentioned was early college. And I think, obviously as a school counselor and a parent, I think early college is an amazing opportunity for students who are ready for it and who want it. I am concerned that one thing is that not all students, no matter how gifted or exceptional they are ready for that at any point before. I mean, let's be honest, some of them aren't ready after they graduate from high school. They might need a little extra support and maturity. But just because kids are gifted and exceptional doesn't mean they're ready for that. My own son is in 9th grade this year, and I can't see that being an option for him for many reasons. And even if he were ready, if he didn't want it, I wouldn't want to have to force him into that. The second part is that ability to go to early college already exists for every student in the state of Ohio, homeschooled or public school, because they can do that through the College Credit Plus program at any school in the state. So in my opinion, that's withdrawing opportunity for students in Cincinnati Public by creating Spencer and making it an early college school that gives fewer opportunities, because they already have that opportunity at any school. They already have that opportunity at Cincinnati or at Spencer now. I have currently 2 students, and last semester I had 3 students that were taking classes at Cincinnati State. So that option still exists, but what won't exist if we create Spencer into a early college school is the school setting for students who are gifted and exceptional and aren't ready for college. So that's what I want to appeal to think that through and to not withdraw the opportunities for those students, because everybody will still have that chance if they're ready and if they want to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sellers?
Board Member Jones, if I could just
Yes.
speak to that.
Superintendent.
So that option was removed from the table and was a part of my presentation last week.
Thank you, Superintendent. Clarification.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I have a really quick request this evening, but it is about the safety and security of our students. As you know, about 20 of our schools have polling places within the building, and this year there is going to be a large primary election on March 17th, which is a school day. And I would like for the board to consider and looking into if we could use a calamity day for that day so that students, because parking lots will be extra crowded. A lot of schools barely have parking now. The people will be coming and going early in the morning into the parking lots where the kids are not familiar. They may not be familiar. It could cause a safety risk with drivers. But I also know that there is a concern because right now we have like the most secure buildings in the country, and we have double locking doors and we have lots of security. But on election day, those doors in those buildings have to be unlocked and open for voters. And we don't know who those voters might be. And it could cause for a security breach within a school. And I would hate for that to happen, even if it's just in one school, that it would impede future election polling places in our schools, because I think it's a great opportunity for the Board of Elections to be able to use our schools. I think it's great that people can come into our schools and see how great our schools are. But when there is voting within the building, it's very disruptive to students, sometimes for the lunch scheduling, the hallway scheduling, the library, wherever they set them up. It causes problems with their specials on that day. But for me, those things you can work around. I'm worried about the security of who may be in that building voting on days when, and we don't know who those people are. And they're in a building around kids. What if they try to go and use a restroom or something? I just think that for our kids' safety, that should be something that's considered. So, thank you.
Thank you. Great. Superintendent, would you please present our first presentation?
Gladly. So this evening, we're going to start with the end in mind, and we're launching a series called Beyond the Tassel. So as we move into the second half of the school year and we're nearing graduation, believe it or not, we're going to be bringing a series to you called Beyond the Tassel that really talks about how we are working to ensure that our young people have a vibrant life once they leave CPS. So it's not good enough for us just to get them across the graduation stage, but to get them to a successful future. And so Shauna Murphy, our Assistant Superintendent over Secondary Education, will be here starting off our presentation. I want to start off by thanking Tri-Health. Tri-Health came to us last school year. Jeremiah Kirkland, who is the Executive Director of Women's Service Line and Practice Operations, has worked to establish a very significant partnership with our young people. And so tonight we want to present that information to you.
Thank you, Superintendent Mitchell. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I'm Shauna Murphy, Assistant Superintendent for Secondary Education, and I am delighted to be able to talk with you tonight about an aspect of our strategic plan focused on student-centered decision-making, giving our students a voice, allowing them the opportunity to make decisions about their lives, their education, their future. One critical area the Office of Secondary Education gets to work on is allowing students to talk about what they want to do when they leave Cincinnati Public Schools. Do they want to be enrolled? Do they want to enlist? Do they want to be employed? This is super important to me, having been a high school principal, because it just gives me great joy to be able to see young people cross the stage on graduation day. And as they shake hands and receive their diplomas, you think about challenges that they've had along the way. And one of the decisions that we ask our students to make is making sure that they have a plan so that they are able to take care of themselves and to take care of their future potential families. So you are going to be able to hear over the next couple of months our vision, our ideas, our plans around an expansion of My Tomorrow, and that is what we're calling Beyond the Tassel. You are familiar with the 3 E's, and there is a slide in this slide deck. I think I'm supposed to advance the slides. You're familiar with this, where we have asked our students, with the support of our counselors and administrators in our building, for the students to, first of all, declare one of the 3 E's. So we did that first quarter. Then in second quarter, we asked our counselors and administrators to work with our young people to identify steps they've taken towards whatever it is they may have declared. And so tonight we're going to focus in on the aspect of employment. You are going to be able to see on this chart that there are about 250 seniors who have said, I want to be employed, I want to begin my career, I want to start working immediately after high school. And so we have a few plans in place for them. One you'll hear about tonight from Ms. Carmen Gaines. Ms. Gaines is the Career Enrichment Program Coordinator at Woodward Career Technical High School. And we're going to take advantage of an opportunity Superintendent Mitchell gave us to expand an employment and resource fair for all 250 or so of those students in our district this coming spring. You'll also hear an opportunity from Ms. Brittany Cousins. You know her as our career-based learning manager, and the work that she's been doing with one of our signature pathway programs, Tri-Health. So at this time, I'm going to ask Carmen to come forward first to talk to you a little bit about that spring program.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Carmen Gaines. I have the privilege to work at Woodward Career Technical High School as the Career Enrichment Program Coordinator. There, I serve our students with creating skills and opportunities for them after high school. So that's around job shadowing, work study, group tours, anything aligning with the industry recognized credentials that we offer at the school to support them with their employment choices after high school. Again, we notice the need to have our students kind of set them up where they can have sustainable employment after high school. A lot of our students have jobs, but it isn't enough to help support their families and themselves. So we are looking to have the Employment and Resource Fair, which we call TURF. TURF is a fair where we'll invite employers from those in-demand careers. So we're talking around healthcare, customer service, IT, manufacturing, and construction. By working at Woodward, I get contacted a bunch of and a lot of times by employers who are looking to hire our students. We have a lot of opportunities for those students, but we have the students who have identified employment but don't know where to start. So this is an opportunity to engage all 250 students across the district in this fair. The fair will be held on April 6th here in this building, and we'll invite additional resources to support them as well. So life after high school may get a bit hectic for those, so we want to invite other social services and to kind of support those students. With this experience, we'll also have the support of the Office of Secondary Education to kind of help facilitate that, the support of our counselors to follow up and ensure that the students are following through with that employment experience. So we'll offer on-site interviews. We'll have computers and laptops available for the students to apply to jobs right then and there. And then also we want to take advantage of connecting social media with it and have a live on-site photographer there to take headshots for them to use on their LinkedIn page, on their Facebook page. So professional headshots for those students as well as they transition out of high school. So this is my life's work. I enjoy working with the students at Woodward, and I am very excited to expand the program and work with more students throughout the district.
Thank you.
Brittany?
Good evening. So as Ms. Murphy and Ms. Gaines stated, we are excited to be in front of you to talk about the employment side of the career-based learning framework. In addition to the strategies listed before me, the career-based learning team has really been working to create comprehensive programs that students can starting in their senior year and carry through upon graduation and really transition into the world of work. We have really worked to build this transition from one pipeline that started in the supply chain logistics area with our partner with DHL and expanded it to 6 different career pathways that are in multiple schools and in multiple sectors. But today, I am super excited to have this wonderful team with me to really talk about the School to Work program. And instead of just diving right into it, I thought it would be helpful if we showed the video so you can see it in action. So as Rob is pulling it up for us, this is actually an excerpt from a video that was taken during the program, so you can see our students in action.
Transforming Health, sponsored by BI3.
A new program at a local hospital is transforming lives. Joining us now to explain exactly how this is happening is medical reporter Liz Bonus. Hey, Liz.
Hey, Kyle. Good evening, and good evening to you. Healthcare providers at Good Samaritan Hospital are part of a unique partnership with Cincinnati Public Schools and BI3, which is an organization that helps fund new innovative programs to change the way we deliver healthcare. This one allows students to work in healthcare while still in high school. Those such as Andy Velasquez say it's been life-changing. His rotation, the week we met him, was front and center as you walk into Good Samaritan Hospital.
It helps me build this confidence with everybody that comes into the hospital, meeting new faces, getting to tell them where to go, seeing them smile when they hear the good news.
Michael Jones is the supervisor for the schoolwork program. He says the real goal:
growing, learning how to be accountable, how to have an impact in the community.
For the last 2 years of their Cincinnati Public High School experience, students with an interest in the medical field can apply, be matched with a mentor such as Joy Carter, the Tri-Health Guest Services Supervisor, and rotate through departments here at Good Samaritan Hospital.
I get to show them, expose them to the healthcare culture that they may or may not have experienced.
Jill Miller, the president and CEO of BI3, told me the partnership is a perfect pairing because
we really need to increase the diversity of our healthcare workforce. And so this program kind of hit on all fronts, being able to help youth who face many challenges.
There's so much in this world that they get exposed to, and this program is an effort to expose them to the good, expose them to things that will help change their lives and really put them on a path for a better career, better outcomes.
Jeremiah Kirkland is the Tri-Health Executive Director of this program. He says while the money to pay the students does come from the BI3 funding, what they learn is priceless.
This program has helped my social skills and learning more in the health field.
The students build a bond with patients.
Thank you very much. You guys are amazing, and I couldn't have picked a better hospital.
It is such a pleasure to take care of you.
Thank you.
And their mentors along the way. But what they really find is a lot of joy in the journey, they say, that builds into lives and their own healthy future.
It's given me a lot of exposure in the hospital because I do want to be in healthcare. It's just, I like being here. The people are so happy and everybody just, we all on the same page. So I love Shalonda.
Talk about life-changing. We do have more on this program at local12.com. And join us Sunday morning, 6 a.m. on What's Happening in Health. That team coming in.
So the video does a great job with showcasing the spirit of our partnership, and it also is a very interesting way to see the positive energy that we've gotten around this work. But to really draw in the importance and the mission of the partnership, I wanted to bring to the podium Mr. Jeremiah Kirkland, who's the VP of Women's Services for Tri-Health, as well as Ms. Jennifer Zimmerman, who's the Director of Grants and Evaluations with Bethesda, Inc.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Come on up here, partner.
So Brittany made me promise before I came here to speak that I would follow the 5 B's of public speaking. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's be brief, brother, be brief. Those of you who have ever met with me know I can be long-winded and talk a lot, especially about stuff I'm passionate about, and I loved this program. 20 years ago, I was accepted into the School to Work program in Rochester, New York, and the program truly changed my life. It helped me build long life relationships, mentors. It gave me exposure to areas in the healthcare field that I would never have had an opportunity to see if this program wasn't available. Literally, less than 45 days after starting the program, my father passed away of colon cancer, and I also gained father figures and people in that hospital that took me under their wing and said, you know, we're gonna support you and we're gonna be with you. And when I came to Cincinnati, Mark Clement, the CEO of TriHealth, and I sat down and talked, and we said, wouldn't it be great if we could create the same program, a great program here in Cincinnati in partnership with CPS? And I think that was a great opportunity for us to talk to Jennifer and others at BI3, and they said, heck yeah, it sounds like a great idea. Let's partner with you to offer up some seed funding so we can get the initial 3 years going before we build an endowment for the program. Then we called Laura Mitchell, and Laura said, this is great. It's an aggressive timeline, but let's do it. And I think I was on a flight to Miami or something at the time, and we made it happen in a short time, and it's a great partnership, and I look forward to a lot more success. So I'm done. Anything?
Great. Well, thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here. Again, my name is Jennifer Zimmerman, and I'm here representing the Board of Trustees of Bethesda, Inc., which is the co-sponsor of TriHealth, and particularly BI3, which is our grant-making initiative. And we invest in new and innovative programs to transform healthcare in our community, as well as achieve health equity. And we really saw this program as an opportunity to bring something unique to our community, to really build this partnership between TriHealth and Cincinnati Public Schools. This program is unique in that it gives students a 2-year experience to rotate through different rotations within Good Samaritan Hospital, expose them to a lot of different career opportunities. So on behalf of the Board of Trustees, we're grateful for the partnership with CPS, and we look forward to the continued success of the program.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Don't go far. We may have questions.
So really looking at the program and how it's structured, all of our employment programs are based off of 3 main pillars. The first is industry-related training and education. For our students in the School to Work program, this is actually a part of their career tech programming in the healthcare careers pathway. In addition, last year, the Career Tech Office and the Career-Based Learning Office worked together to write a pre-apprenticeship to the Ohio State Pre-Apprenticeship Council, as well as the Ohio Department of Education. And in its first round, it was approved. So all students in Cincinnati Public Schools have access to achieve that pre-apprenticeship, which also is 12 points that they can use towards graduation. So students in this program have access to that. They're in process of completing it. In addition, the on-the-job training that TriHealth provides really gives them insight into the medical terminology, the different procedures, as well as the results that they get to review on their day-to-day assignments. That is invaluable training that they're learning every single day. On the second pillar, the workforce readiness training and financial literacy, out of all the employers that I get a chance to work with, the number one thing that they would like our students to come in the door with is those soft skills. So they can teach them the technical skills, they can teach them how to do the job, but they cannot teach them how to show up every day on time with a positive attitude. And that is the beauty of this work, because we have multiple layers of coaching that our students have access to. The first, within the career-based learning department, we have employment specialists. Travis Rowley, who's in the audience, is actually the employment specialist that works with this group of students. He provides the day-to-day coaching from an academic standpoint in conjunction with the Hughes STEM staff. In addition, they have an on-site supervisor and mentor. His name is Mike Jones. You've seen him in that video, who provides the day-to-day supervision, help with any challenges that they may be having in their department. And then he also helps maintain the relationship between the district, the school, as well as Tri-Health. General Electric Credit Union is our financial institution of choice because they are within the hospital at Good Samaritan. So they come in on a quarterly basis and help teach our students the basics of financial literacy. They're teaching them how to manage the influx of money that they're receiving on the job, as well as open accounts if they need to. And last but not least, the paid employment experience. Students in this program get to leave class and work 4 days a week. They're there, they're immersed in this environment as you saw on the video, and they get an opportunity to actually see what they're learning in the textbook and apply it to the world of work. Currently, these following departments are in the rotation. So students spend 10 weeks in one particular rotation and they continuously change. So at the end of the 2 years, we're hoping that each student gets an opportunity to complete 10 rotations. And so we're adding year after year so that we can be able to bring in new students so they can have this constant rotation. None of this will be possible without partnership. We are really devoted to partnering with employers that are flexible, that can co-create with us, that will hold us as a district and our students accountable, as well as provide an immersive experience. It's not enough to have a short-term experience. They need to be able to see themselves in that workplace. And I can't say any more about the great partnership that we have. They meet with us on a monthly basis, the Tri-Health team, to really work through all of the nuances necessary to make this work at the scale in which we're trying to do it. And of course, as Ms. Zimmerman was able to say, BI3 has invested over $1 million in this work. So their investment is not small, but it's immersive and it will continue over the next 3 years. This is our class, our inaugural class of students. I can't say enough about these young people because they took a chance. They didn't know anything about this program because it's brand new, but they applied, they interviewed, and they did everything that they needed to do to make their academic requirements so that they can participate. We are happy today to have a couple of them here. I'm going to ask Ms. Wright, Monasia Brewster, and Rayani Dillard to come up next, because this is a true partnership also with our schools. So at the district level, we really do these widespread partnerships, but it's the school that makes it work. So I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Wright so that she can explain the connection to the mission of Hughes to this work.
Thank you, Brittany. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, my name is Kathy Wright. I'm the principal at Hughes, and I am so excited to be here and to talk about this partnership. I'm super excited for our young people that are here, and I'm really just impressed with the amount of energy and finances and resources that have come together to bring this experience to our students. So at Hughes, our mission is to create a 21st century learning environment that will support, challenge, and empower students to become college and career ready, engaged citizens, and lifelong learners through an integrated STEM and liberal arts curriculum. It's a super lofty goal. But what we've found is through this partnership, we've been able to really enhance the learning experience for our learners. We believe in the power of our learners to transform not only their lives, but to transform the way we do education. This partnership has enabled our students to become engaged self-advocates, engaged in an incredibly rich and immersive experience that is totally aligned to Superintendent Mitchell's My Tomorrow vision, as well as the mission of Hughes. So we appreciate the energy, the time, the investment that it has taken to allow us to be the pilot location for this partnership. We want to thank our friends at BI3. Thank you so much. Our friends at Tri-Health and Good Sam, and of course, under the leadership of Brittany Cousins and the career-based learning team, we really appreciate all the support that we've gotten to be able to have this program happen here at Hughes. So I'd like to introduce you to 11th grader Monasia Brewster, who's going to speak on behalf, unless Wahani wants to speak at some point, about the program.
Hi, I'm a junior at Houston High School, and I'm in the Tri-Health School to Work program. I'm honored to be here. I want to start off by saying it is not easy to get in this program. You have to have a 2.5 GPA or over, and you have to do a resume, a cover letter. It's like a rigorous process. So my experience after being accepted into the program has taught me to not only expose me to patient contact, but taught me how to do time management. Because certain jobs at the hospital, they're like rotated, so all of them work the same. Like for instance, if I'm doing rehab, I choose what job that I want to go to versus guest services. And I feel like every student in Cincinnati Public Schools should be able to adapt to this field, because it's important. We are only in high school, and we getting a chance to I feel like experience something at a new level, something that's higher than us. And I feel like everybody should be able to experience this, and it's very important. I get new terminology and new ways to I guess, sorry, I get new ways to introduce myself in a new way, and I really like the things that it's taught me, and I feel like everybody should get a chance to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Wayani. I am a junior at Houston High School, and I'm currently in pharmacy in the School to Work program. I want to say this program has really opened my eyes to a lot of things, because when I think of a hospital, I think of just nurses, doctors, labor and delivery. I never really I didn't go deeper into it. I've been in nursing administration, the CN Center, which is prenatal care, just things I would have never thought of. So I just want to say thank you for this experience of this opportunity.
Thank you.
So looking ahead to the rest of this school year as well as next school year, our primary goal is to expand this program. Currently, we have 10 students. We're looking to expand to 20 additional students. So as a reminder, this is a 2-year program, so this particular cohort will continue as we bring in 20 new students. Mr. Kirkland is very focused and very much an advocate for a healthcare exploration field trip. So we will be taking a trip on a national level somewhere in our country to explore different healthcare systems and how they work. And then for the first cohort of students, we will be working with them on a case-by-case basis for their post-secondary planning. So students have direct access to enter employment following their graduation, but if they want to work and go to school to further their development and enter into higher ranks within the organization, which I know these 2 young ladies would like to do, we are here to support them, and then we're working on additional partnerships to do that. But they have an opportunity to go straight into the world of work. So in closing, we are very grateful for the partnerships that we have, and we're looking forward to expanding it, and we look forward to any questions and comments that you may have.
Thank you so much. Board members have questions or comments? I'll start on this end. Mr. Morosky.
Thank you, President Jones. This really lives up to the maxim of it takes a village, doesn't it? We have a lot of innovative partnerships that I brag about a lot and talk about a lot. I feel like this one is one of those best practice ones where you have a healthcare institution, a grant-making initiative, a public school district, a school, a few different departments all coming together for our kids. It's no small amount that community partners are pumping into our students, and so thank you for that. It seems really neat. I'd love to ask the 2 young people from Hughes a couple questions. Come on back. Come on back. It seems that you're looking at that video, people are learning job skills, you're learning how to to use your words, how to introduce yourself different ways, so social skills. I was actually with one of my Tri-Health doctors this morning, so you may have to see me someday in your professional setting. I have lots of old people things wrong with me. Anyway, I was just be curious, both of you, did you think you might want a career in healthcare before you did this, or did you say, you know what, this sounds interesting, I'll do it? It would be question number one, and then question number two, now, which part of the healthcare do you like the best?
Going into the program, I knew I wanted to be a surgical technologist, so I felt like it would be a great opportunity for me to start here.
You knew you wanted to be a surgical technician. How'd you know that? That's impressive. I don't know what I want to do still.
To be honest, I just wanted to be a surgical technologist because, I felt like, okay, so a surgical technologist is learning the instruments that you have to pass to the surgeon. And I feel like that's an easy task for me. If I didn't have like a light trimmer, then I would probably want to be a surgeon, but that's like out of the question.
Right
so.
on, okay. How about you?
I wanted to be a psychologist, but now that I have been through in the program, it's kind of been like an eye-opener.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of options that I just need to weigh out.
And that just hearing that, and that's it for me, and then I'll shut up. But to hearing that this partnership, that it's shown you the options that are there that's an important thing. That's really cool. Congrats and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bowers.
Yes, first I would like to congratulate you two and the rest of the 8 others. Did you say it was 10 currently in the program, for meeting the expectation to even go to this level? This is almost like advanced placement, almost like college area. So congratulations on you guys being able to do that and sustaining yourself while you're going through the 10-week cycles throughout your paths. Congratulations to our partners, and thank you for your collaboration, your zeal. I heard you say that you love working with our students. Thank you. The principal, you're on fire about the program. Thank you. And your vision, sir, I appreciate it. And thank you, Ms. Murphy. This presentation between you two was great. You know, I asked probably about all of this when we were in SAC, but this makes me feel very good, because I'm always combating about how we are connecting with vocational and career choice in the community. I'm hearing people from the suburbs, I'm hearing all this stuff, but this is my ammunition now from Woodward and Hughes. I like it, and I'm glad that we're moving forward. I would like more students, even than the 30, expanded over across our district to have these opportunities, but I know we're starting, and I feel that we're gonna move in the right direction, so thank you all.
Mr. Messer.
Yes, it probably comes as no shock that I love to hear about this. You know, as we know, the Cincinnati Chamber has done their jobs outlook, and hands down, healthcare is by far the #1 source of new jobs, some of which will go unfilled because of training needs, but it is absolutely the #1 category for jobs in this region and nationally. So I love that this is giving experience to a variety of spots. When you say your tremor might keep you from being a surgeon, Johnson & Johnson, the company I work for, works with surgeons, and so much is changing to robotics. So that's kind of going to fix that, where you can actually still be a surgeon. So we should chat about that. And I really want to thank Tri-Health, because, you know, we have just an incredible set of healthcare institutions in this region, and to have a partner like Tri-Health at the table, we're super excited about that. And I'm just curious if Tri-Health has an idea of how many CPS graduates you have today, or if you've set any goals for the years ahead with this program.
The goals are big, and we want to beat what we did in Rochester, New York. Thank you. This is why. So I was just saying, the goals for this program are big, and we want this to go past 3 years of funding, which is why we want to build an endowment for it. In Rochester, we were able to graduate over 1,000 students from this program, and it's been around for a long time. We want that to happen with Tri-Health here, and we would hope that other systems, like you said, this area is pretty rich with health systems. We want other systems to adopt the model that we set up. We don't want to be stingy, because we can't give 200 students an opportunity every year. But if other systems see what we've done and really adopt this, we will help them create a model that can be successful as well. So together, we should be getting 200 plus students exposure and experience to this type of work, because it's going to give them that experience that they would have never had, because they think one thing when they think healthcare, and they come into this program and they see immediately 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different departments within their time in the hospital. So we want to keep it going. We want many more students to be involved. So the plans are moving.
So just one follow-up. So how many specific job opportunities do you think TriHealth has on an annual basis?
So annually,
that would fit with this cohort of students?
So I think that right now, if we look, the last time I looked at our job board, these students, once they graduate, there's at least 100 different positions they can roll into immediately upon graduation. And by the time these students graduate, our minimum wage will be at $15 an hour. Some students will leave the program and they can get hired at $15 to $17 an hour immediately after graduation. So we have no doubt that there's going to be opportunities for us to slot these students in at 10, 20, 30, or 40 students a year. So that goes without saying. So we are looking at opportunities now. We had a student come up to us last week and said, hey, I was offered a job in this area in the hospital. We said, nope, you can't take it just yet because you got to finish the program. But in Rochester, that happened a lot because the departments need good people, and they see these students working hard and they want to keep them.
Thank you. Any other? Done? Ms. Bolton?
Thank you very much. I congratulate everyone for this effort. It's fantastic. Just several things real quickly. I honestly believe out of the My Tomorrow initiative, the whole piece about workforce development and career is the single most important effort when you look at the equity piece. And I applaud the superintendent for going in this direction. And it's time probably for us to make sure that all of our 16 or so high schools are home campuses for any number of pathways. And I think we're well on our way to doing that. I think, too, it'd be great to be able to organize the school day around our students being able to pursue both this, learn and earn or learn and work, because the school day needs to be redeveloped, I think, for many, if not all of our students. So appreciate that. And this helps us figure out how to do that. I also like it's learning in place. I mean, you're walking across the street in parts and down the street 2 or 3 long blocks. But I think that's important. The other thing is I think this is also an extension, really, of the Community Learning Center piece, where it's not just about whether it's a resource coordinator, but it's the idea that the community is helping educate and train and evolve our students. So do well, show well, rep well, because the people who will follow you will be dependent upon how many there are. It won't just be about the money, but it's how well you do. And it sounds like you're well on your way. So thank you so much.
Mr. Lindy.
Yeah, I'll be very brief. I just want to say thank you all very, very much for all of your hard work and for being here tonight. And to our administrative folks, I'd defer to President Jones if we have time for these questions, or I'll just leave them with you for the future. But what I wanted to learn more about was, where do you find constraints about wanting to grow? Like, if you had a magic wand, do you wish you could triple the size of this program? Do you feel like there are other careers and industries where you'd like to have parallel efforts that we don't have yet? And again, would defer. Great.
Do I have? Okay. Yeah. So with our current framework, transportation across multiple industries is probably our biggest barrier, especially when we get to companies that reside in the first ring suburb. It's hard to get our students there and back in a cost-efficient way. We need flexible transportation options in order to do that. In addition, we have to continue to change this narrative about having students go to work after graduation. So we're working really hard and really intently with our Business Advisory Council to do that. They have been instrumental in helping our business partners really see in their networks that this is a viable option for students while they're in high school and then post-graduation. So I would say that those are the two biggest barriers.
Thank you.
Ms. Bates, any questions? Okay. Well, in closing, I ditto what's already been said, so I won't repeat it. I think this is excellent. We always love hearing from the students because they give their heart. They don't have to be here tonight, but I think they had a very powerful message about their own experience, and I think that we take that very seriously, so we appreciate that. And then on top of that, of course, you all know what I'm going to say, right? I'm a Hughes alum. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, that's right. Wonderful. Okay. Superintendent.
Yes. So we began with the end in mind, and now we're going to back up and go to the beginning and start with the presentation on preschool, so that you know everything that we do pre-K through 12 is really centered around what happens to that young person after they graduate from Cincinnati Public Schools. And so we have Shara Jackson here from the Preschool Promise to give us an update. And as our career-based people are leaving, again, a big thank you to TriHealth for coming to us with this initiative. We really appreciate your support.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
It is good to see you all again. I think the last time that we met, it was in October before I had officially started, and now I am fully on board.
Okay.
I shared with you all kind of a snapshot of where we are with the numbers. We also share these at our monthly board meetings to kind of say, month-to-month update, what's our progress, where are we, and how are we doing? Preschool Promise's mission to make sure that every preschooler in the CPS footprint has access to a quality preschool. You will see from this one-pager that at the end of December, we were about at 1,518 students who were receiving tuition assistance. These are students that, without the funding and support of Cincinnati Preschool Promise, would not be able to go to preschool. We are providing 113 preschools are participating in that tuition assistance. We're also very proud of our quality improvement numbers. We have 71 community-based providers currently receiving quality improvement supports. In the month of December, we had 8 community-based providers move to high quality, and we are continuing our Teacher Promise grants, where we have 69 grants awarded to help retain teachers by providing specific dollars for education and ongoing professional development. I hope that you all saw the fabulous article in this weekend's Inquirer that talked about the importance of kindergarten readiness and the impact that kindergarten readiness has over time. Now that we know and have proof that the theory that we built on, the importance of kindergarten readiness and impact, it's even more important for the Preschool Promise to be there, because we know that's the vehicle and the initiative that helps more students be kindergarten ready. In my first 90 days on the job, our focus has really been on working on our strategic marketing and communications plan, but also focused on quality improvement for community providers, with the state deadline coming up very soon in July, where those who have not reached at least 1 star would no longer be eligible for publicly funded childcare or support. We had to make sure that we had done our due diligence, that every community provider we had reached out to, we had provided support to, we had engaged in every way that we could. I am proud to say that by the end of December, every provider that had been enrolled in Preschool Promise was no longer at risk of not getting that 1 star. All documents had been submitted, all work had been done, and we are waiting on final approval from the state. After that occurred, we then looked to our partners with 4C in the community and said, who else have we not touched, and who else is at risk of not being rated? We've been doing our due diligence with a recruitment blitz to reach out to all of them. The numbers are decreasing, where we anticipate there will be less than 10 to 12 providers that we would not have reached and touched and been able to move up that step up to quality scale. Many providers have decided they're going to retire. They're not interested in publicly funded childcare, but we know we've had a touch with all of those providers to make the option open and available to them. We've also done a lot of work to reach those providers with the marketing and outreach that I've talked about, and you will see, hopefully, all of you have seen daily posts on Facebook from us now. We have a new LinkedIn account that talks about professional development and job postings that are available, Instagram and Twitter, and also engaging our providers in our website and our social media contact as well. You'll now see a live calendar on the Cincinnati Preschool Promise website that tells activities people can be engaged in and events. In reaching out to those providers, we've also done quarterly meet and greets with them as well to say, what do you really need for Preschool Promise to be a good partner? And I have to, of course, say a thanks to Superintendent Mitchell as well as Vera Brooks for partnering with us to say we're willing to lend any resources, any support, any learnings we have to help support the community providers in that effort. The first 60 days focused on community providers has been successful. My next 60 days will turn to, of course, enrollment and making sure that more students have access and are enrolled in those quality seats that we've helped create. That involves partnering with CPS, again, to say that when you see a member of the CPS team doing enrollment, you will see a member of the CPP team doing enrollment as well, to make sure that everyone knows this is a joint effort and that quality of preschool comes in CPS classrooms and community providers as well. And we think that is crucial. We will also be increasing the touch points that we have with parents. So every child that is enrolled in Preschool Promise gets a birthday card on their birthday. Parents get bi-monthly touch points with us from tips that we have, and we will have a new text mechanism rolling out in March to say, how do we keep in touch with parents? We'll be doing pastries with preschoolers again, where we'll be visiting 3 community-based preschools every month and invite you to join us to make sure that parents and providers know that we're there, that we appreciate their partnership, and that we share in that investment in their children and their future. When we looked at our studies and results, our data showed that the majority of parents who responded to how they heard about Preschool Promise, it was from an educator or school or a preschool that they were currently attending. So we know how important that partnership is with providers to help us deliver the message. We'll also be visiting all of our local community councils. We have a volunteer drive going on now with volunteer training in March, and we're partnering with traditional community organizations to say, how do we carry the message? We're hoping that all of our board members from CPP and CPS, as well as our providers, will wear their new Preschool Promise lapel pins proudly, and hope that people will ask you, what is your pin about? What is Preschool Promise doing? And you can share the good news. We also are continuing, as I said, with our wage initiatives, with our Teacher Promise grants. The last cohort closed January 31st. We have another cohort that will be opening in April, and a total of 69 teachers who have received supportive dollars for that. We'll also be rolling out at the end of February our Staff Support Fund, which gives up to $3,000 for each lead teacher in a preschool that may not yet be high quality rated for things like salary supplements and professional development, because we know some of those providers need that to make sure they move on Step Up to Quality, and it is a much needed resource that lead teachers need. As we look forward on what we'll be doing in the future, it is our goal to make sure that there is a greater presence in the community, greater presence with providers, and greater presence with families of Cincinnati Preschool Promise. You'll be seeing us out and about at the 6x6 mini conference that's coming up in March, not only at community council meetings, but meetings like the Avondale Business Committee Council to say, what's the value that we bring to small businesses and communities, and how can we partner together? We have been responsive to what providers said that they needed, and one thing is help with marketing and promotion so people know that they're there. We have commissioned a series of videos that has technical support that walks someone through how to complete your Step Up to Quality application, how to apply for Teacher Promise Grant, how to access services, and those technical pieces are also paired with success stories of those that have engaged with Preschool Promise. We have a snapshot that we want to show you tonight. We clipped it down so you won't see the technical piece, but you'll see the success story of one of our community providers that has reached high quality.
My name is Brenda Harris, and I'm the director and co-owner of Nanny's Multi-Level Learning Center. Well, the center has benefited by having quality improvements to the program, supporting the teachers and administrators in meeting the qualifications for our Step Up to Quality rating. We are now a 5-star quality rated program. This center has benefited from Cincinnati Preschool Promise by providing supports in partnership with 4C for Children, quality improvement in terms of freshening our classroom with new classroom furniture and supports, and by helping teachers to improve their teaching skills through teacher education. Professional development benefits everybody all the way around, the administrators, the teachers. We've gotten supports in terms of paying for teacher workshops and training classes, because for Step Up to Quality, there has to be a certain amount of training that each teacher gets. So current and potential providers should be involved with Preschool Promise because it's an awesome opportunity to improve your program, to uplift and support teachers in providing excellent preschool preparation for kindergarten and beyond. Well, our children have benefited from Cincinnati Preschool Promise because we have an awesome classroom set up. We have new furniture. The kids are excited to come in and see new educational toys and educational supports in the classroom. So it has been a great benefit for both the teachers and the children. The advice that I would give for anybody that is involved in a preschool program is to reach out to Preschool Promise and ask for Brittany Pina. Brittany would even come to your center or your program to help you if you have any questions. Having a 5-star banner demonstrates to the public that you're a quality program. Cincinnati Preschool Promise, expanding access to quality preschool. Hashtag Promise Kept.
And as I said, this is one in a series of 10 that we'll be rolling out, and our ask is that people post, share, like, and follow as they see us in social media. Invite us to events, so thank you, Mike, for inviting us to talk to the Cradle Cincinnati leadership team. We are small but mighty, team of 6 that is ready to share the good news, provide support when needed, because we are committed to delivering on the promise.
Thank you. Board members, questions or comments? Mr. Messer first.
Thank you, Shara. As somebody's got 2 of them in preschool, I can tell you I see the benefits of having that opportunity every day, and I couldn't have any more faith in 2 leaders than I have you and Ms. Brooks in ensuring that our children in the Cincinnati Public School District have these opportunities that are quality. So thank you for all of your efforts. I feel like a really amazing energy in the community, things that I hear since you've joined, not to say anything about before, but just to say it's been so positive. So I want to thank you for that. And, you know, I think the community providers are such an important partner for us. One thing that we absolutely have in common is minority and women-owned businesses. As we think about how we spend our dollars at CPS is important, and these are the businesses often that are running our community-based providers. So, you know, we have a lot in common, and no question that work that our community providers do absolutely feeds to the success of Cincinnati Public Schools. I think the only thing, if I could make that relationship better, is if we could help the students that are at the community providers understand the opportunities at CPS. And I think there are other options outside of CPS where children don't have as many opportunities or have the same inclusion and equity policies, and the list goes on. And I would love to figure out how we can start to bring those parents along into kind of what are magnet programs and how do we get students enrolled in their neighborhood schools and what Vision 2020 means to each of them. So my wish going forward is how do we even bring it closer together in the spirit of quality and ensuring that we're making those families aware of the options they have at CPS.
We'll be happy to report back. We actually have strategies in development, which we consider our kindergarten transition, and partnering with community providers so that parents have direct access, so they can ask questions, so that they can understand, so that they know how easy it is for their well-prepared student to go to a CPS kindergarten. We'll be happy to share and report on those strategies at the next report out.
Fabulous. Thank you. Ms. Bowers, next.
Just to CC what Board Member Messer has already said, it is a win-win for our business, the directors of our preschools, to have that business aspect. It's a win-win for them and the community. I want to congratulate you on your efforts and your push to increasing the number of providers that are step up to quality. Congratulations on that for the end of the year. And I really like your marketing strategy about being at this council, this community councils, and marketing, or just even being present to talk about preschool promise and opportunities for families, in addition to focusing on the professional development of our teachers. I think that's very important for all of our kids, because at the end of the day, all of these eventually, I think you said 80% of the kids we're going to touch in CPS eventually. I think you said that before. So these are all of our kids, and I just think it's important, and I like the partnership that we have, and I hope we can make it stronger.
Thank you. Mr. Lindy.
Thank you. I wanted to share first just a heartfelt thank you. I think preschool is almost without exception in education an area with incredibly great data on the impact long-term, both cognitively and non-cognitively. And I think this is one of the most exciting things Cincinnati has done in education. I want to say thank you. I wanted to ask if you had to pick your 3 most helpful things that the board could do to be helpful for you and your team, what are your top 3?
When partner with us as we go out to the community council meetings, as we're in the community, it is important for people to see CPP board representatives, but CPS board representatives as well, to know that this is truly a joint effort, and we're in this together to deflate any ideas of competition. Be open to the appetite of new ideas and outside-of-the-box strategies that we'll be developing. One that I will mention, because Board Member Bowers brought it up, is we have a new partnership with the African American Chamber of Commerce. We're grateful for those type of partnerships, because that offers leveraging skills and techniques that we don't have to develop. They know very well how to help someone market a business. They know very well how to help someone pick the correct business structure. They know very well how to help someone pay for their taxes, process their taxes, and make sure that gets done on time. Innovative partnerships that you think are important, bring to us as a CPP team to share with that as well. And most importantly, invite us to be ambassadors in places where you already know and go. We are ready to talk. We are ready to recruit. Any place that you know that there are parents, even if they don't have a 3-year-old yet, they will. We are more than happy to come and engage with them, to customize things in the way that they need, to make the process easy. We now have mobile kits that our team goes out with, so that if people are interested in completing our paperwork for tuition assistance online immediately, we can do that for them on the spot. If there are providers that are interested and not engaged in part of tuition assistance, we will go to them and let them see the benefits and the values, even if they only have 1 student that's eligible. That's an opportunity that that student wouldn't otherwise have. So again, share the message and the good news, and reach out to us to help us do that.
Ms. Bolton?
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned it and went more fully into the African American Chamber. I think that's crucial and really welcomed. Also, can you explain kind of the urgency regarding maybe the 60 or so
Sure.
who are not rated, and why it's so important
So
for them to be rated?
Yes, the state Step Up to Quality system said by a certain date, all providers need to be rated at least a 1 on the 1 to 5 scale. For providers that hadn't reached that 1 yet, they would not be eligible to receive publicly funded child care dollars, which means no tuition assistance from CPP, not even or other publicly funded sources. Our concern was that if we did not get them on the track to high quality now, they would not have resources, would not be able to access those, they would get lost in the whole process. We know that there is an additional deadline that's coming in 2025 where everyone needs to be rated 3 stars or above. We also knew that there was a population that, despite all of our outreach efforts, some that we had not touched, or that had been newly originated since we did our original outreach efforts. So it was important that we would be able to say with due diligence, with the investment that the taxpayers made in Cincinnati Preschool Promise, with the effort and the promise that we made, that we had reached out to every provider in the CPS footprint to say, one, at least we don't want you to miss that deadline and are fully aware of Step Up to Quality, but more than that, that CPP is a partner there to help you through that process. We did that in partnership with 4C, but 4C is responsible for several counties. They are responsible for a very large area. So we really said to them, we don't want to duplicate your services, but we want to work in partnership with you and tell us where the gaps are. And we did some very strategic things: mobile kits, Saturday sessions, on-site paperwork, additional coaching for specific needs, because while some people need coaching, which is we tell you how to do, some people need doing. If they're at the point where they are providing preschool services, other childcare in their home, they need that extra support to do that. So I can say with confidence, we have used every means and resource and partnered with everybody to say, how can we reach anyone that is interested, anyone that wants to take the Step Up to Quality journey, and done our best job to say, even if you didn't think you did, we're going to do our best to try to talk you into it.
Great, thank you.
Well, just a final comment, and more so for our audience tonight. A couple weeks ago, we celebrated the 2nd annual celebration of our community providers. And it was a great event. It brought both parties together, again, wonderfully coordinated, but it is a great opportunity to say thanks to our community providers and to acknowledge their importance to our community. So, and thank you. I too have also heard very positive things, so we really appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna move on into our board matters, and Mr. Hoying, if he could come to the podium. And while Mr. Hoying is coming to the podium, I just want to share just kind of a brief update. As you all know, we've been talking to the city about the having a new agreement related to the tax abatement piece, and we finally did get the offer that we held firm to. So congratulations to the board for sticking to its guns. And Mr. Hoying is going to give us a brief update on where things are, kind of what our next steps are, and have an opportunity for board members to ask questions. But I wanted to say that we're not in a position tonight to make a final decision because we really haven't had a chance to digest the potential contract. So having said that, Mr. Hoying.
Yes, thank you. The city administration did send over a copy of the ordinance approving the 33% pilot, which was the big, I think, issue between the parties. So in addition to that, the city solicitor sent over a first draft of an agreement that would memorialize that. We are in the process of reviewing that. We've retained outside counsel to assist us with this, but it's important, I think, this is a long-term agreement and something we want to make sure we get right and that it memorializes the agreement that I think the parties have worked so hard to get to. So happy to take any questions.
Okay. Do board members have questions, comments? Wow, okay. Ms. Bolton?
Yeah, I think it's important that the public know that as the president mentioned, we're pleased that this has hopefully been worked out, but the public needs to know that what you've received as our general counsel and what we just received, I guess, today, is a 10-page draft agreement. So it is something, as you mentioned and as she mentioned, we really have to react to. It's not just a 3-point plan.
No. Right.
It's an actual legal document.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if, hopefully people, I don't want anybody to interpret this in the media or someplace else that we're delaying
No.
or
Right.
have
Yes,
negative
that's
issues.
correct. Right.
But that we lived through a 20-year agreement that had had 4 sentences in it that changed the world.
Right.
So I think it's important, and we trust the general counsel to get back to us. But this is great for the
Yes.
city and for us, I think.
Right. And I think it is important for us to take time to kind of digest it word for word by word, and consult with legal counsel about our next steps. Mr. Messer.
Yeah, and I absolutely concur with Member Bolton's comments, and I just, wanted to say publicly to members of City Council, thank you for really understanding the value of education as the foundation of our city and the future of our city. And so, of course, we have to go through the details, but I have to say that I was very pleased when I was watching the tweets and things coming from that meeting, that the majority of council came to the conclusion that we have to do what's right for our schools. So we say thank you, or I say thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Horn.
Thank you.
Mr. Morosky,
I'm good.
you're good?
Yep.
Okay.
That's debatable.
So we're going to move on. Mr. Messer, Vice President Messer has to leave to get on the road for his job, so I guess that's okay. We'll let him go. Okay, moving on. Ms. Bolton, please present the resolution.
Do we have groundwork?
Oh, I thought he just said he was good.
Oh,
We're not going
I'm
to do
sorry.
that.
I'm
Yes.
balancing the scales after last Wednesday. I'll take it on.
Great. I'm happy to present this resolution on behalf of the Finance Committee, but I will ask the treasurer to more fully explain how these $8.7 million need a particular procedural actions in order to take place. So let me introduce. I move Cincinnati Public Schools fiscal year 2019-2020 additional appropriations resolution fund 467, Student Wellness and Success Fund, whereas fiscal year 1920 permanent appropriations resolution was adopted by the board on June 24th, and whereas the fiscal year the Ohio Department of Ed is providing student wellness and success funding and has directed the district to utilize Fund 467, the Student Wellness and Success Fund, of these monies, which are designed to meet the social and emotional needs of Ohio students. And I think that's all I would need to read, and if I get a second, then during discussion,
Yes.
perhaps the treasurer will be able to explain this to us.
Is there a second? Thank you. Discussion. Treasurer Wagner.
Yes, so in order for the treasurer of any school district to actually spend any money, the board has to first appropriate it, and we appropriate at the fund level. So at the beginning of the year, remember the last board meeting in June, you always do the final appropriations for the year and then the new appropriations for the next year. At the time, this fund didn't exist. We knew the money was coming, but we thought it would be added to the general fund because it was the governor's budget through the Ohio Department of Education. It wasn't until late October, maybe November, when they actually sent the money out and said, oh, by the way, there's this new fund. So in order for Ms. Bunty and Ms. Murphy to actually start spending this money, you first have to appropriate it. And that's what this does.
Okay. Other questions or comments? Mr. Morosky.
Just a quick one. Do we, this might be presumptuous, I don't know, cart before the horse. Do we know how we're planning on spending it?
Do we know what?
Do we know how we're planning on spending it?
Yes, we do. Both Ms. Bunty and Ms. Murphy have budget plans that are waiting for this authority for us to enter them into them. I believe at some point they plan to do a presentation.
Yeah,
to
no,
the
I don't need to
board.
hear about it. Cool, awesome.
Okay, during our budget development process.
Thank you. Any other questions? Ms. Wagner, please call the roll.
Mrs. Bates?
Aye.
Ms. Bolton?
Aye.
Mrs. Bowers?
Aye.
Mr. Lindy?
Aye.
Mr. Messer? Mr. Borowski?
Yes.
President Jones?
Yes. Motion carries. Its resolution is approved. Okay, Superintendent Mitchell, do you have a report?
I do have a brief report in addition to the written report. I always like to highlight the good work of our students. And so tonight, the superintendent's report has a real focus on pedestrian safety from our students' perspective. So when we think about our strategic plan, has been stated many times, we want our kids to be more than just mere contributors, but we want them to have voice and to influence the work that's happening, not only within their school community, but also their communities at large. And so you can see these little kids, they have a sign that says, "We love our crossing guards." So there are three key messages about this very brief presentation, which really also speak to the strategic plan goal under health and safety. This is about student voice, it's about student safety, and it's about a safe community. So you may have heard that there was a Billboard Contest in the city of Cincinnati for kids to have the opportunity to enter their artwork into a contest, to have their billboards displayed, exemplifying good practices as it relates to student safety. And there were hundreds of kids who actually submitted their work. There were 7 winners who came from Cincinnati Public Schools, and here are just 3 of those examples. In addition, you may remember Madeline Gerker. She was, at the time when she came to speak before the board, a 9-year-old who sent a handwritten letter to the mayor of Cincinnati requesting the installation of a sidewalk on Sussex Avenue. She attends Sands Montessori. So that was, believe it or not, 2 years ago. Fast forward to today, City Council recently approved an ordinance that officially would accept a $400,000 grant from the state to make the sidewalk a reality. So Madeline persisted and she was victorious. It took her 2 years, but she got her sidewalk. And that concludes my report in addition to the written one.
Thank you, Superintendent. Do I have a motion to approve the recommendations of the superintendent?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Treasurer Wagner, please call the roll.
Mrs. Bates?
Aye.
Ms. Bolton?
Aye.
Mrs. Bowers?
Aye.
Mr. Lindy? Mr. Morosky?
Yes.
President Jones?
Yes, thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the revised report of the treasurer?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Yes, Ms. Bolton?
I just have some, just a couple of questions. And I didn't connect it to the revised thing, but it's Roman numeral 2 as it pertains to the alternative schools, A to E, A to S. Actually, it's Roman numeral 3, late requests. To find out what that would be about, I'm a little familiar.
So I'm going to ask Assistant Superintendent Shauna Murphy to come up and be able to address that specific question. So this is related to the Urban Minority Alcoholism and Drug Abuse Outreach Program. And your question is regarding why is it a late request?
Well, it says to provide classroom space for alternative schools, A to E, A to S.
I'll have to ask if it's all right if I get more information about that. I don't have that with me.
Sure, and it's perfectly understandable. It's kind of obscure. I just am concerned from the fact that the audit committee with the internal auditor some months ago, when we were all talking about certain things, we really were concerned, if I recall, about the number of staff, the size of the space, but whether or not economically this was the best way to go. And it looks like we're expanding, and I haven't seen us necessarily contract what we were doing. So that was a part of the presentation by the internal auditor. There's no reason that you would necessarily know about that at this time, but that was of concern regarding A to E, A to S. that's all. If we can get back, that would be great.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? It's been moved and seconded. Ms. Wagner, please call the roll.
Mrs. Bates?
Aye.
Ms. Bolton?
Aye.
Mrs. Bowers?
Aye.
Mr. Lindy?
Aye.
Mr. Morosky?
Yes.
President Jones?
Yes. Thank you. Inquiries and updates. Are there any inquiries and updates?
I have
Yes.
some updates, some dates that folks might be interested in. As you know, on our bylaws and the committees that we can sit on, the Urban Network on February 19th is having the first general presentation of the evolving report card, state report card presentation that CPS has been very involved with, and I particularly want to salute Connie Solano for her work. She's becoming is already the expert here, but is also a very important person on that committee. That will be in Columbus at 10 o'clock, February 19th. Then also, probably board members already know this, that the Neighborhood Summit is occurring on March 14th, and I know we have a session that's not been quite figured out yet, but that'll be our, I think, 4th year in a row that we're going to actually have a session. There's also a newer committee statewide that's been put together regarding vouchers, both from a standpoint of how to fight them, but also, depending upon where we end up in a couple of months, how to technically deal with that for voucher possible schools around the state. There'll be 3 dates when the various workshops on that will be in the Cincinnati-Dayton area before the summer, and those are, let's see, March the 20th, April the 17th, and May the 8th. But I'll try to get that out, but those are things where indeed it probably be useful for administration or board members to attend at least one of those sessions. There's a tremendous effort going on, and I think we all saw part of the results of this group with the lobbying of the delay, well, if it still is, but that's something to be thinking about. The other, I have just hard copy for Mrs. Bates and everyone. I have also a poll that was actually commissioned by the NSBA, and it was released this past week regarding some wonderful national polling done by both a Republican and a Democratic polling group. One is Ohio-based, which is really cool, but this is, I think, 10 or so states that are swing states, and I thought people would be very interested, especially those folks that are on the levy committee. Really good stuff. It talks about charters, talks about finance, talks about everything that we would be particularly interested in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have just one update, just to share with the board that Father Graham and I are trying to schedule some time so that we can talk about planning our next joint board meeting. He's been out of town, so I just want to let you know that that's in the works, and we'll be getting together to try to figure out a good time that both boards can meet, and I believe this time it'll be us. We will host that meeting, so I'll let you know more as things move along there. Okay, any other inquiries and updates? Okay. Assignments? Any assignments? Ms. Bolton?
It's more informational. Like to know two things. One, where we have, I know we passed a contract or something in this recent treasurer's report, how many Leader in Me programs we have in the district. I know it's been very useful in Cheviot and Silverton maybe, but.
I believe SCPA as well.
Okay, great. So there might be 3. That's an easy assignment. Thank you. And didn't know if there's any interest in expanding that. And then also would still like to see some numbers regarding the use of Schoology. I know we spend a fortune on that, and that is our major contact It'd be great to see if use has increased or stayed flat or gone down. Thank you.
Okay, any other assignments? Last call. Okay, having no other business before us, I declare the meeting adjourned.
Close it out.